Hello, second period. We are beginning Bend 3 of our Social Issues Unit of Study, Bringing Your Lives to Your Reading. This is going to be for our last 2 weeks, the week 8 and week 9. So Bend 3 is going to take us to the end. So today we are going to read session 15's mini lesson. This is bringing yourself with all your complications to your reading. And today is Monday, May 18th. Today I'm going to start this mini lesson a little differently. I'm going to read this poem and ask you to very privately, without losing your focus, mark one or two places where you feel a strong response, parts where the poet especially makes you think or feel something. Star those parts. Here's our poem, Shoulders. So just think about the two parts that kind of make you feel something, or just you react to them in some way, and those are the parts that you're going to focus on. Shoulders. A man crosses the street in rain, stepping gently, looking 2 times north and south, because his son is asleep on his shoulder. No car must splash him, no car drive too near to his shadow. This man carries the world's most sensitive cargo, but he's not marked. Nowhere does his jacket say fragile, handle with care. His ear fills up with breathing. He hears the hum of a boy's breath deep inside him. We're not going to be able to live in this world if we're not willing to do what he's doing with one another. The road will only be wide. The rain will never stop falling. Okay, I'm sure you start a part. If you haven't, make sure you do so now. Readers, think about the line that mattered most to you, and kind of just share that with yourself. It seems to me that different people in this class would have responded to totally different parts of the poem, and that we each responded to parts that speak to our own lives, and even in some instances to the groups to which we belong. Some of you homed in on the sense of family in this poem and reflected on the adults in your lives who have cared for you. Others of you are older siblings, and you considered how you sometimes play that caregiving role for a little brother or sister. Still others responded to the last line and to the sense that life will always give us rainy days, and you probably thought of the hard times in your own life. Isn't it fascinating how we all read the same poem, yet different parts resonated with each of us? And that's my point. That's how reading goes. Today, I want to teach you that your reading experiences are shaped by more than the words you read. It's the words themselves plus what you bring to them that helps you create meaning from a text. The groups with which you identify, your character traits, and your personal histories all shape your reading. This makes me think of a quote from a famous professor of reading, Louis Rosenblatt. Teachers all over the world have studied her work. Here's what she said. Books do not simply happen to people. People also happen to books. A story or poem or play is merely ink spots on paper until a reader transforms them into a set of meaningful symbols. I think that what Louise is saying is that we always bring our own experiences with us when we read, and that we make something meaningful when we combine our experiences with those ink spots on the image. I guess that's why it's not surprising when 4 members of a book club have 4 different interpretations of a text. When I'm trying to create meaning as I read, it pays off to think which parts of the book resonate for me, which parts connect somehow with my own life. Then I study those parts closely. I can think about what aspects of my life especially connect to this part. Let me give you an example. When I read Shoulders, I especially see myself in the first stanza. I know I'm not a man with a sleeping son, but whenever I babysit for my nephew, I find myself in that same situation. With a sleeping kid, I carry with such care and as if he's sleeping in another room. I check on him 17 times in 30 minutes to make sure he's okay. For me, I think it's because I feel this intense love for my nephew. I want to protect him from as much harm and danger as I can to keep him totally safe. Once I've thought a bit about my own life, it pays to connect back to the text and use my own experiences to help me see this part differently. Maybe it's not about just about a man trying to not wake his sleeping son. Maybe it's that he has this intense love for his son and wants to do whatever he can to protect him. Do you see how I'm seeing more in the text because I'm bringing myself into it? When I find parts that especially resonate with me, I'm studying those parts closely and using the connections to my own life to help me see the text differently. Are you ready to try this? Right now, pick up shoulders and locate one of the parts you marked, a part where you can especially see yourself. For a minute, think about what you see yourself in that part, why you see yourself in that part. What is it about the groups you're in, your character traits, your personal history that helps you understand that part more deeply? Then connect back to the text. How do your experiences help you to see this text, these characters, differently than you did before? Remember that just like characters, you have individual traits and group identities. Both explain how that helps you understand this text or this character more deeply. You might say, as someone who I think it would be hard, easy to. Today, as you read, in addition to thinking about groups and power and about relationships, could you also read with yourself in mind? You're already doing it without thinking about it. You can't help it. But today, I'm going to ask you to really think about it. You know, then that by bringing yourself to those ink spots on the page, you can create meaning from the text. So, right now, think about the book you're reading. Ask yourself, what parts of this book particularly connect to me personally? Where do I see myself in this book? This could be a character you relate to, or a group, or a setting. Once you have a personal focus, you can head back to your reading and start thinking and making meaning. Make sure that you are aware of these teaching points. Pause at parts you find powerful and ask, one in my life is making this part meaningful. And then also, after connecting to your life, return to the text with more understanding. So, your tasks for today are to read chapter 37 and 38. They are super, super short. They're 2 pages each. So, you will get those done very quickly. You are then going to begin working on the final project for your social issues unit of study. You'll be asked to develop a summer reading list based on the lessons you have learned throughout this unit. And this assignment is posted in Google Classroom. So, you just need to put some thought into this and spend some time finding some quality books that you think have really made a connection to this unit and what you've learned from it. Okay. I hope you have a great Monday, and I will talk to you tomorrow.